Well, good evening, everybody. I hope that you had a good Tuesday. Hard to believe we're already to Wednesday. Man, what is happening here, guys? The time just flies by so incredibly fast. It is just crazy how fast time flies by. Like I say, we're already to Wednesday, the middle of the week, and you're going to blink and it's going to be Thursday. You're going to blink, it's going to be Friday. Here we are. So this is the last week in June. Excuse me, last week in May. And we are almost to June. Of course, June the 1st would be this upcoming Sunday here. And that means the meteorological summer begins on Sunday, and the last day of spring would be Saturday here. And the reason why is in the world of weather records, we keep them in solid month increments. And we don't do it like in the middle of the month or the way the astronomy takes place. Because when you're looking at the summer solstice, that's 100% has to do with astronomy and now what's going on with the sun and the earth and the position and whatnot. But with weather, we take weather records in solid month increments. And I've told you this before. Summer is going to be June, July, August, fall, September, October, November, winter, December, January, February, March, April, May would be spring. And it has been an incredibly wet spring, y'all. Incredibly wet. I'm going to pull up and show y'all some graphics here in just a minute and talk about how wet it's been. It has been nuts how wet it's been. And, if you look back on weather records back in 2023, we were in a drought. And it wasn't looking good. But we got to 2024, and it was a wet year. And this year is also a wet year. It seems as though that we're just in a pattern of just active weather right now. It seems like from 2010 through about 2020, while we did have some wet periods in there, we were also in a situation where we saw more dry years than wet years during that. And it seems like since 2020, we've seen more wet years than dry years. So let me share this here with you and talk about some numbers. So if you take a look at this, of course, all this rain we've had, this is spring numbers. Now March was a pretty dry month, and it was looking bleak, and I don't even remember what our forecast was. My forecast was for, I think the severe weather part of it was right. We said some severe weather events, but kind of a lot of it would be just east of us. We got that right. I think that we called for near to below average rainfall, and we were dead wrong on that. If you look at the numbers here, 30% of the days this spring since March the 1st have been with measurable rainfall here. That would be some form of measurable rainfall, whether that be from midnight or all the way till 11:59 p.m. That's what would be a measurable rainfall on that given day. March below average, April wettest ever with almost 10.5 inches. So far this month, while it's not the wettest May on record, we're sitting at about 4.5 to 4 3/4, which is about 1.5 inches above average. For the spring now, we're up to 16.88, just under 17 inches, and that puts us about right around 9.25 above average there. We're not quite done. We still could see a little more rain before the spring is over with, I think. As far as we can also look back in the sense, this is 2023. We look back on this. So 2023, it was looking bleak. We were in a drought again here. That was not looking good. But then here comes 2024, and we made up the rainfall deficit in 2024. We saw 34.93, almost 35 inches of rain. That was 7 inches above average, and that brought us, it made up the deficit from the prior year, and that put us at about, right about 1 inch above average there. Then you get to this year, and we're already 7 inches above average here. So for the total, since 2023, we're 8 inches above average on rainfall. I think 2022 may have been dry as well. I don't remember, but I think it was. Now, as far as our weather tonight, I'm going to pull that up too. We can look at the radar. Of course, there's no rain. Actually, pretty nice out there tonight. Also, if you're one of these people that watch radar and you've ever wondered what this little feature is right over here, I've seen people ask us before this question, what is this? Because what you see is right around sunset, maybe right thereafter, you'll see a hole develop over. It looks like a donut, and it'll go all in different directions here. You know what that is? Anybody got a question? Got a guess? That's bats. That's bats coming out of a cave over here. and they fly out at right after sunset. So the radar picks it up. There's a bunch of them. The radar picks them up. Just thought I'd let y'all know what that is. Looking north and west of us tonight, there's some storms up in Colorado. And then we looked out to the west here. There's some storms in southeastern New Mexico and some big storms down there near San Angelo, Midland, those areas here. But it looks like tonight anyway, the storms stay away from us. But I will say that some of the weather information earlier was showing some storms moving in tomorrow morning. And some of the latest weather information is trying to bring some decent storms into the area again tomorrow. Not severe, but some decent, rainfall amounts again. So here we are now, not a whole lot. And then here we are at 8:30. Again, there could be some little showers here and there at that time. But the latest weather information is trying to bring a little area of storms in tomorrow afternoon here. So, I mean, it's possible that we could see a little bit of thunderstorm activity with some more downpours here, especially across the southern parts of the area. Then that kind of moves on kind of out of the way. And then here comes our front Thursday night, or Wednesday night, early Thursday. And that could bring some more little thunderstorm chances along with it. I think the bigger story on Thursday will be finally a bit of a relief from the humidity. That's something it's been super humid as of late. So that's going to be nice. So yeah, Andrew, I think you're right on that. 22 was a hot, dry year. Because I can remember last year doing a rainfall deficit for 2022 and 2023 and talking about what we needed to do to make up that. So maybe I'll do a drought comparison to the wet season. We've seen those 2 years were pretty dry, 2023, 2022. So 2024 and 2025 pretty wet here. So, and I've actually seen Reed, and this is the part about Reed Timmer that I love is he's a great meteorologist, and he's been, talking about how we're in we're just in a bit of a pattern. I think he says like a 5-year pattern of just real active weather, spring tornadoes and severe weather and flooding and that kind of stuff here. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure he's done some research, and I'm sure that, like I say, he's a fantastic forecaster. If you could just take the hype out of it. I also saw where they're about to buy a helicopter, and I was like, oh, this isn't going to end well. That's just not going to end well. I mean, the Oklahoma City flies a helicopter, and I think Dallas might too when there's severe weather, and it's, it's fine, no big deal. But I hope that I'm wrong, but I would speculate, and I hope that he isn't planning on flying a helicopter into a tornado, because I don't think that's going to end well. I know that my buddy Eric Fox has been doing, he's a part of some research project, and they're flying, I think remote control airplanes into tornadoes and whatnot. And I think it chunks them pretty good. They get good data before it chunks them, but then it chunks them. So, but I don't know. I hope that's not the situation, because I just don't know if that's going to end well. I certainly don't want nothing to happen to him. That's for sure. Because Reed is he really is. Besides all the hype and whatnot, he's a really good dude. If you ever met him, he's a really good guy. He handles all the fame very well. So Ken, let's go running. Hot girl summer soon. I'm not sure what that was supposed to mean. Hot girl summer. I don't know what that means. Hot girl summer is soon. I don't know what that means. Dude, I'm married. I'd have no need at all to go be running and looking for hot girls. None. Zero, zilch. That's a good way to get me in trouble. So you can go do that, but that's not what I'm going to do. So, a lot of people, sorry, I was responding to a text message there. So, a lot of people, what was I going to say here? Yeah, a lot of people did, they get scared by a lot of the social media people. And that's why I'm just trying to say that, you just got to have a source that you like and you trust. And you got to, and at this point in time, we know that what's out there. We know that there's a bunch of garbage out there, and we just ignore it. That's what I teach you, just ignore it, and come to a reputable source. That's what I'm trying to teach you. Somebody who, but what people, any type of a good weather person, good meteorologist isn't going to be overhyping every weather event. They will hype an event that needs to be hyped, but they're not going to overhype every event. So, matter of fact, I didn't even call for tornadoes really this past weekend. I mean, I said there could be a little spin up here or there, and that's really, I mean, we really never even saw that. So, I mean, I have a hard time hyping up weather, even when, I don't know. A lot of times this stuff just isn't worth it. Yeah, especially in our part of the country. We just don't, we get a lot of, these wind thunderstorm events, get a little hail here and there, but, we just don't see a lot of significant tornado events here in Northwest Texas. So, there can be some up in Southwest Oklahoma, and we do get some, but, it takes a special type of weather pattern to produce them here to get that. And it just doesn't happen that often. So you really got to have a boundary. You got to have some type of an outflow boundary or some type of a front sitting here that the storms can ride along. Because when we get these big, what we call synoptic systems, these big, strong, low pressure systems, I mean, they can produce tornadoes and severe weather and whatnot, but they usually don't produce that much. Usually all the tornadoes with those are up there in Oklahoma. So, but anyway, so my summer body is about as ready as it's going to get. We'll see. And thank you, Deborah. We'll see. I am advertising some warmer temperatures next week. The weather pattern might shift a little bit, and the storm track tries to shift over into the pretty strong jet stream there, but it's kind of up to our northwest. And when we see that, that usually means very warm, if not hot and windy weather down our way. Now, I'm not forecasting triple digits, I don't think, but I do think we could see some, several days next week where we're in the 90s with some pretty windy weather. So that's possible. So, but that's that. So what do you guys got planned for this summer? Now that we're almost to summer, what do you guys got planned for this summer? Me, I don't have any definite plans right now. Kelly's daughter, Taylor, is supposed to come in June for a visit. Jordan, Kelly's son, has been serving in Djibouti, Africa, and he'll be home. He actually leaves Djibouti on Sunday, and he'll be home next week. So we're excited about that. I don't know what else to do. I'm not one, and I'm a very busy person, as you know. We do well, thank you, Mamie, because I'm the same way. That's why I tell you, don't worry. I don't get worried. Ask Cameron. I don't get worried very often. So I need to get a new roof too. But you know what, Rebecca? Insurance sucks. Insurance doesn't help you at all getting a new roof. They really don't. I mean, and I talked to an insurance agent about this, and she told us the reason why is because that's the number one thing people request. So they may help you a little, but they're not going to help you much. In my instance, I need a new roof, but guess how much money I have to spend before they will even, my deductible, guess how much I have to spend before they would even pay a dime on it? I have to spend at least, I think, 14, 15 grand. And I think a new roof is going to cost about 14, 15 grand. So insurance don't help at all. It's ridiculous. So there's that. What else? So I don't know what I have going on. Like I say, I don't go a lot of places. Some of the places I do, I would like to go on a summer vacation, but I just don't ever do it really. It's been I went to Italy last year, but that wasn't a summer vacation. That was more of a fall type thing. But, it's been a long time since I've been on a family vacation with my kids and my wife and all that. And I would really like to do that and go somewhere and do something here. So, yeah, I'll float in my pool for about the next month. And then after that, once we get into about mid-July, it's too hot. The water's like getting into a hot tub. So yeah, Rebecca, it's a way. It's a big insurance, in my opinion, is a waste of money until you need it. I mean, like for instance, if something big happens, you need it there, and then it's worth it, and you got to have it for that reason. But otherwise, I mean, no, not really. I mean, it's just you pay every month all this money, and then you get something you need help with, and then either they don't want to approve it, or they just or the deductible's too much. It's ridiculous. I wouldn't mind going to a Chicago Cubs game for sure. What is LJS opening? Anyone going? Oh, Long John Silver's today. So I don't think I've ever seen anybody in the parking lot of Long John Silver's. And today I'm on my way to work, and there's a line out the parking lot and all the way down on Kemp, causing a big disruption in traffic there. I'm glad it hasn't caused any accidents. I don't know what the big deal is. I haven't eaten Long John Silver since I was a little kid. I haven't eaten there in a long time, and maybe I'm missing out on something. I don't know. But maybe I need to go try it. I don't know. I just I can't give an opinion on the food because I haven't had it before in a long time. So like I say, as a little kid, back in Mississippi, we used to have something called Captain D's, and I don't know if it's even a thing anymore. But Captain D's was a kind of like Long John Silver, and I can remember being kid, early teenager, and I remember eating that, and the food was just I guess you could say kind of mid. But I mean, I don't know. Long John Silver's might be a lot better. I don't know. I'd love to go to Montana in the summer, but that's I don't know how I could make that happen, honestly. You know what I'd really like to do is I would really like to take my family to Universal Studios in Orlando. But, it's been a long time since I've been to Disney World and those kinds of places, but it's just so expensive. So expensive. I mean, I think that for me to take my family, I mean, I think it would at least be $10,000. And that's just too much money to pay on a vacation. So I'm not doing that. All Stars and Stay Farm cheap customers. They were infant of Congress. I'm not sure what you're trying to say there, but I think you're talking about insurance. But yeah, you have to have insurance. I mean, it's all there is. I mean, if let's just say a big tornado comes along and blows your house away, I mean, then insurance is worth having. You're like, oh, I'm glad I got insurance now. But like I say, when you need a roof and you really need help with that, and then here, this part of the country, we need it because we get hail a lot and we get a lot of a lot of gusty windstorms and stuff. We need help, and we just when you need it, they just don't help you much. So. Like I say, I wouldn't mind going down to Disney and to it's just that mouse makes a lot of money. That mouse makes a whole lot of money. I need to Google. I need to ask Chat GPT. I'm going to ask it. I'm about to ask Chat GPT. So I become a big fan of Chat GPT. I mean, this thing is, guys. Chat GPT is scary. Let me tell you what makes it scary here. It's not scary. It's awesome. It's scary at the same time. So the other day, I took a picture of my tomato plants. They're looking good. I said, hey, ChatGPT, how do my tomato plants look? You know what it said? It said, oh, they look great. Your stalks are big and healthy. They're green leafy. You got blooms on them. You're going to have tomatoes soon. But you need to have probably go ahead and stake them because they'll be producing fruit soon. You're going to want to have them staked. They'll get too heavy. Oh, but I do notice a little bit of a curl upward in the leaf, which probably means it's getting a little bit too much water. Let me give you a watering schedule here. I was like, wow, that's awesome. So, but anyway, all right. So let's see. Chat GPT, how much does it cost the average family to go on a Disney vacation? All right, so let's see what it says. I know when I went to Destin, which has been many years ago, I think it was $5,000 for me just to go to Destin. But that's the majority of what you spend when you go there is your hotel stay, which we got a house, rented Airbnb a house, and then but food down there is crazy expensive. So, all right, so here's what ChatGPT says. The cost of a Disney World vacation for a family of 4, and that's kind of an average family, can vary wildly based upon travel dates, accommodation choices, dining preferences, and additional experiences. Here's a general breakdown to help you estimate expenses. All right, so an estimate cost for a family of 4, this is this year here, to go to Disney World, park tickets, standard 6-day base tickets, approximately, this is each person, check this out, each person per day, $124 per day to go to the Disney World parks. That's around, for a family, right at $3,000 just to go to the park there. That's not including hotel stay, food. That's just to go to the park. $3,000. So a value resort, right at about $200 per night. So if you go for a week, that's approximately $1,470. Dining, quick meal service is about $15 to $20 a person. Table service meals, $35 to $60 plus per person. Estimated total about $2,000 for the trip. That is for food. That's for a family of 4. So we've got to go to the parks, $3,000. Okay, this is a family of 4. For just a value resort, that's $2,000, well, about $1,500. So that puts us at what, $3,000. $4,500 right there. And then you throw in food. That's so what are we at? 4,500. So 45, about 6,500 there for food. And then airfare, about 1,200 people. So the estimated cost here would be about right at $8,000. I mean, you could do it for a family of four, about 5,500, but for a family of four, just kind of the upper end would be about 8,000. Then if you wanted to really go like on a luxury, it would cost you over 10 grand. That's for four. I've got 7 in my family. 7 plus, not to mention, well, I'm about to have a daughter-in-law, so that gives me 8. So I mean, if you did the math, that would be right at with food, hotel stays, park tickets, and airfare, and any souvenirs, that kind of stuff you're going to buy, and snacks. So for my family to go to Disney World, it would be right at about probably $15,000-$16,000. Think about that. I could do a lot with that money. I could go buy a car or pay off a debt or something. So maybe a little bit of some storminess tomorrow moving across the area. So I mean, nothing like what we've been seeing, but there'll be some thunderstorms around. It gets a lot better as we get into Thursday night and Friday. There's some good lower humidity. So just for the two of you, this is your honeymoon. I'm sure this is gonna be upper end stuff, more luxury, convenient, comfort type stuff here at $5,800. Like I said, that mouse is making a ton of money. I mean, you think about all the people that visit. And I've been there before, and it is packed. You can't even move hardly in the summertime. That's not to even include all their extras. They got some really cool, like arcades and video game type things there. They got cool theaters there. They've got water parks. They've got all kind of stuff. I mean, it's cool stuff to go see and go do. But I mean, if you did everything, if you did Universal and you did Disney World and all the extras, let's say you're there for 2 weeks, you're easily going to spend 20 grand. So that is nuts. I have not ever let ChatGPT roast my family. Maybe I should. Maybe that'd be funny. See, and the thing about it is when you go to Disney World in the summertime, it'll be 90 degrees there, but the humidity will be like it has been here, except it's awful. There's no breeze. It rains every day. And it's like you're standing outside in this heat and humidity and you're drenched with sweat. Then you walk inside where the rides are, because they're all indoors, and you walk into this nice, cool air conditioning. It feels so good. And not to mention your feet get to hurting from walking all day. Of course, I'll go to Six Flags some, but I don't know. It's so dang hot here in Texas, Mandy. I like Six Flags, but I'm not riding roller coasters and stuff anymore. Last time I went, I rode this roller coaster at Six Flags. It spins, a little cart spin, and it was fine. It was fun, no big deal. But we got to the end and it got stuck. Boom! And guess what? We're sitting there spinning. We spun for 10 straight minutes, just like this. And I got so sick. I told myself it ruined the rest of my day. I said, I'll never ride another roller coaster again. I can do the ups and downs. I just can't do the spinny stuff. So, but it's so hot to go to Six Flags in Texas in the summertime. It is so. I remember as a kid, my dad, we were in Mississippi, lived in Jackson, Mississippi. And my mom and dad took us, me and my sister, to Six Flags, and it was Wet and Wild back then. For vacation, family vacation that year. And I can just remember how hot it was. I was like, golly, it's so hot here. That's when the Rangers were in their old stadium. Not the one it was like the old stadium. But that's some great memories. I'll never forget. I was it was Wet and Wild, Hurricane Harbor now. I was at Wet and Wild. And I separated from my mom, and I wanted to do my own thing with 12-year-old kid here. So I'm walking around Wet and Wild, and I'm flirting with some little girls over there, I'm sure. And my dad had a nickname for me. He called me Booger. That was my nickname. And so I'm trying to I'm trying to flirt with these little girls over there. About the time my dad walks up and goes, "Oh, there's Booger," real loud like that. I was like, oh my gosh. They started laughing at me. I was so embarrassed. But anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. When should all this rain finally taper off for a good while? Hard to say. Like I say, I can see some drier days next week. I don't think we're totally done with the storms. There's still some indications we could see some storminess into the early mid parts of June before it finally, it will. Once we get late June into July, it'll be gone. We'll probably see several weeks, if not several like extended weeks, before we see rain again. So, all right, it's 9:50. It's time for me to jump off here, but I hope y'all have a great night here, and we'll see you tomorrow.